in Blacksburg, Virginia tonight for Big East Conference basketball. UConn on the road taking on the Hokies of Virginia Tech. And we welcome all of you inside Castle Coliseum tonight. I'm John Sanders, and as most of you know, Jim Calhoun will undergo prostate surgery tomorrow. The prognosis is good. Jim, we want you to know that all of us here are thinking about you tomorrow and looking forward to your healthy return to the bench in 3 to 4 weeks. The team's reaction to all of this, let's find out from acting head coach George Blaney.
We had practice Monday, and Jim took them into the locker room after practice, and again, straightforward told them. And I tried to watch their reactions, and they were in shock. They sat, didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say.
I'm joined now by Bob Wenzel. What's your take, Bob?
Well, I think this is a very daunting task for this group. First of all, they lose to Boston College very, very badly, and then the emotional bond they have with Jim Calhoun, that really makes it tough. George Blaney is a guy who can manage the sidelines, but what are they going to miss? A lot of things from Jim Calhoun. He's the architect of this wonderful program in the 90s at UConn, national championship in 1999. Lots of energy on the sideline. When they need to be brandished, he does that. When they need to be coddled, he does that. When the officials need an ear, he does that also. They're going to miss him badly.
He'll do it to the television set tonight, but what about the young players from the University of Connecticut? How will they react? That's what we're going to find out. It's Big East Conference basketball coming up right after this. Second meeting of the year between these two teams. There is George Blaney. Plenty of head coaching experience under his belt as he fills in temporarily for Jim Calhoun, who is expected back in about a month. We're at Castle Coliseum on the campus of Virginia Tech, getting set for the second meeting of the year between these two teams. Let's set the starting lineup. Not much change for Connecticut with the two Browns, Gordon, Armstrong, and Okafor. Virginia Tech, though, Bob, has been tinkering with their starting lineup.
Well, they have to tinker because they're losing games, and they're 1-5 in the league so far, and 8-11 overall. So Ricky Stokes feels that he needs some change. Sometimes that can boost the energy and get everyone's attention.
Well, each of these teams was manhandled by Boston College recently, and of course the worst loss ever for the Huskies at home. Our referee tonight is Bob Donato. The umpires are Donnie Gray and Bernard Clinton, and we are underway from Castle Coliseum. Controlling is Eric Branham, the senior from Washington, D.C.
Connecticut, despite that loss, the 17th ranked team in the country, but playing on foreign turf.
Here's the leading scorer moving his way inside, but missing the first shot was Matthews. Tipped up and kept alive by Branham. And Matthews traveled. He could not get rid of that ball. He just kind of hung on to his hands. He took a couple steps and turns it over.
He has been their leading scorer this year, and of course leads them in steals as well, 6'7". He also is a very good offensive rebounder.
Good move inside that time by Denham Brown, who's starting for the 17th time in 18 games. The only game he didn't start. And there's a mental error that time that winds up in a turnover and a foul. So Eric Branham was trying to set things up as he came up the court, and he forgot about the ball.
And of course, this is his start. Normally Chase starts in that position. Branham not really a point guard. George Blaney happy with the start of his group. Clyde Vaughn and Tom Moore there helping along with George. Andre LaFleur also elevated. He was working and coordinating in the office, but now he gets an opportunity to coach as well.
He was actively coaching this afternoon, so it is a different set of circumstances for everybody on the team. They tried to go along the baseline to Denham Brown. It's tapped out of bounds. We played just about 1 minute. Still 22 left on the shot clock. The Huskies have the early 2-0 lead here in Blacksburg.
John, you look out there and you see Ben Gordon and Okafor, the star players of this team. They're only sophomores. Brown has been around a long time, but the forward position is very much in question for UConn this year. Two freshmen starting today, Hilton Armstrong and Denham Brown.
Mike Hayes filled that role for part of this season in the starting spot, but they've kind of been waiting for Hilton Armstrong to come along. He'll pick up some weight. Branham gets inside and then kicks it back out. Taylor with it.
Speaking of weight,
Taylor powers his way inside. Missed the shot, missed the tip. Okafor has the rebound. He had a terrific first half. First time these two teams met at Connecticut.
Virginia Tech was ahead at half in that game, 43-39.
Short with the runner that time was Gordon, but the rebound kept alive inside, back up and in by Talik Brown.
Physical nature of point guard. Talik Brown talked a lot about his relationship with Jim Calhoun after he learned the news and talked about how he was a father figure to him.
Well, it was a very good game for about 32 minutes the first time these two teams played.
Number 32 out here with the long arm. Zone defense on the part of Virginia Tech Hokies trying to force the perimeter shot.
The three-pointer is short, and the rebound is pulled down inside by Philip McCandies. the freshman from Winston-Salem, getting his 6th start of the year in the ball game tonight.
Well, it's easier for freshmen to rebound when they're in zone. A guy like him stands around, make sure he's in the proper position. He doesn't have blockout responsibilities, but he does have good size.
Trying to take it inside that time was Carlos Dixon, and he was fouled by Hilton Armstrong. That's his first, and it is a shooting foul, so a chance at the line for the Hokies. 17:24 to play. We're early on here in Blacksburg tonight.
Dixon, the second leading scorer on this team. You can see the JC in honor of Jim Calhoun, his players showing their emotional support for him. Each player has that written somewhere on his articles of clothing. Nice tribute to the coach that they hold so close.
Well, as you would expect from Jim Calhoun, he's not messing around, going right in as early as possible to have the surgery, and he will get back as quickly as possible as well. And we look forward, as I said, to his return. 2 at the line for Dixon. And we're tied at 4 for the first time, and right back the other way. The Huskies like to run, even after made baskets at the other end. Taylor that time taps it out of bounds.
Well, Talik Brown is one of the guys in this country that pushes the ball up quickly. You think about T.J. Ford, you think about Brandon Knight and Troy Bell in this league. But he is a guy who gets it up the floor very, very fast.
Brown a little strong off the glass that time, and the rebound is pulled down by McCandy. Back the other way comes Eric Branham.
Denham Brown having his hands full, going one-on-one with Bryant Matthews. Brown, a freshman from Toronto, thought of as a three-point shooter.
Taylor goes inside, then back to the 3. Too strong. Rebound brought out of there by Denham Brown. Malik Brown really set that up, though, with his hustle at the defensive end, and he'll reset in half court with 16:43 to play first half. An early 4-4 tie here in Blacksburg. There's Okafor. Has it tapped away out of bounds.
Fast hands on the part of Carlos Dixon gets a possession for the Hokies right here. The Hokies switching back and forth, John, between man-to-man and zone. Try to throw the Huskies a little bit out of rhythm.
Robertson is on the court, and Gordon has come in as well. So Denham Brown goes to the bench and has a word with assistant coach Tom Moore. Here's Matthews, pulls up for his jumper, rattles out, tipped into the corner, out of bounds, and it's going to stay at this end. Good job that time by Donnie Gray. He didn't see it, so he looked outside for help, and he got it.
George Blaney, stoic on the sideline so far. Former coach of Seton Hall 3 years, and then of course at Holy Cross for 22 seasons. Was at one time the president of the National Association of Basketball Coaches, so certainly familiar to the sidelines.
And a longtime friend of Jim Calhoun, who came back last year as one of his assistants. Good pull up, but too strong. And Okafor has the rebound. He had a double-double first time these two teams played, with 19 points and a dozen rebounds. His numbers have tailed off a little bit of late. Gordon's first 3 of the night. An air ball, a save by Armstrong. He misses the reverse, and then a frustration foul. He'll pick up his second.
Well, that's 2 mistakes in about 1/10 of a second on the part of Hilton Armstrong. A freshman orientation lesson needs to be learned.
We have our first timeout with 15:44 to play, and 4-4 is the tie. Scored the first 4, the Hokies the last 4, and we're even at 4. There's George Blaney, and certainly, Bob, for him, plenty of experience over the years on the bench at Dartmouth, at Holy Cross, at Seton Hall.
And also at Stonehill College, of course, in his second year right here. Very, very experienced coach, and I don't think there's going to have any trouble managing the game as Jim Calhoun would like. That is their record, so to speak, their resume as coaches. George also taking teams to the NCAA tournament. Calhoun 15 times. Great success at Northeastern and Connecticut. And the pinnacle, 1999, the national championship in Tampa, Florida.
Came 10 years after he won the NIT title with this UConn team. And certainly he elevated them from a good regional basketball team to a national power.
Well said.
That's over the glass and out of bounds. The left-hand shot that time by Eric Branham. And certainly, I would think, in my mind anyway, a future Hall of Fame coach.
Oh, absolutely.
Jim Calhoun.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about what he's done there. I mean, it's religion in Connecticut.
Huskies with it, trying to bounce back from that devastating loss. And both these teams were embarrassed by pretty much the same score against BC. Same results, all the numbers about the same. Final difference the same, and they were hammered by Boston College. Numbers now. Branham races in and scores, and he will go to the line. Foul is called on Talik Brown.
So far, the Huskies struggling on offense against the zone. A lot of passing, but not much getting into the gaps. Right here, an attempt to do so. But fast hands in zone defense is a requirement. And the Hokies doing the right thing so far.
Misses the free throw. So the first lead for Virginia Tech. Remember, they did lead at halftime when these two teams last met on January 14th. Here's Okafor. Robertson loves the three. Comes up short. Matthews races back and is bumped as he crossed midcourt. So Shaman Tools, just into the lineup, will pick up his first foul. The junior from Coatesville with a bump. Not a shooting situation as Branham goes to the bench.
I see some blank faces on the part of the Huskies out here, John. I don't know whether I'm looking into this because of Jim Calhoun's situation. In the warm-ups, they were a little bit lethargic. They're getting some energy defensively, but faces don't look energized to me.
There's a blocking foul again. This one goes against Tony Robertson, so he picks up his first, and that is 5 team fouls already on the Huskies. They might still be in a little bit of shock after last Saturday, and then follow that up by the news on Monday.
Exactly. Right here, feet in cement right here. You're going to get a foul right back. Got to keep those puppies moving. I think that you're right. You know, the shock of the BC game on top of their concern about their coach is really heavy-duty emotion.
Taylor had a huge first half. A beautiful tip-in that time. Skying up to make the play was McCandy's. But racing back was Gordon, and he's fouled. Nobody can turn it around faster than the Huskies, even after a made basket. So the foul will go on Terry Taylor. Gordon with a chance for a three-point play.
Gordon, an excellent free throw shooter, leads this team in scoring, 7th in the Big East, but has good numbers elsewhere. Made some critical rebounds in their victory at Madison Square Garden over St. John's. Stoic kind of performer, keeps his emotions under tact. First time their pressure here.
And handled very well so far by the Hokies. Using Taylor in the middle to break the pressure, but they get the trap, almost get the steal. Matthews in the lane, pulls up, too strong, tipped up, scramble. Brown, and breaking away is Gordon. Matthews tries to track him down, but no chance. Ben Gordon with the slam, and back to the lead for the Huskies at 9-8.
This is the tactic that made the second half break open for UConn at the game.
There's that trap. They're so good at it, right at that position, just as you cross midcourt. A three-point basket by Carlos Dixon.
The Hokies did the right thing, John. Once you get through a 2-2-1, you reverse the ball to the opposite side. Clean shot by Dixon.
And good ball movement this time, and getting inside to finish off the play was Shaman Tools.
I think Connecticut would rather play full court pressure defense as much as they can. Get the tempo of the game going, use their speed. They're not a great physical team this year.
And that time, Sean Harris might have been fouled a couple of times on his way to the basket. The call goes against Ben Gordon.
Well, this opens up the game. George Blaney choosing to go 2-2-1. Virginia Tech electing to attack the basket.
This will be Harris, the freshman from Ettrick, Virginia, and Fork Union.
He's played in all the games this year. Got his first start at Providence College in that loss at the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Well, they had that huge win, and whatever happens, this has been a successful year, and it's the first time ever that Virginia Tech has defeated Virginia in football, women's and men's basketball, all in the same season.
Well, that's an accomplishment. I tell you, I watched a little bit of the Virginia and Virginia Tech basketball game, and they really put it on them in the second half. Very emotional time.
Sean Harris trying to come back and get the rebound after his miss, commits the foul. That's his first.
Ricky Stokes involved with 2 Final Four teams as a player at the University of Virginia. Of course, in his 4th year here, 3rd in the Big East Conference. And of course, they have not qualified for the Big East tournament yet. The last place team in each division does not go to New York for that event.
And right now they are in last place again. Traveling violation. Turnover by UConn. The Huskies give it back. Virginia Tech leads by 1 with 12:51 to play first half. He had a 5-year contract when he came here. He has 1 year remaining on that contract. And Weaver's been quoted as saying he will be here for the full 5 years. Taylor draws a crowd.
Well, you think about Miami as a team that came into this league with a strong football program, and it took them a long time before they got out of the cellar in the league, and they stayed with Leonard Hamilton and eventually proved dividends.
Three-pointer, Matthews bending short. Rebound out of there by Robertson. Here's Tools, pulls it out.
Good judgment.
Robertson inside to Okafor. The jump hook no good. Tipped out of bounds, and it belongs to the Hokies.
You know, John, a lot of people talk about Caron Butler leaving and how important he was to this team, co-most valuable player in the league, but also Johnny Selvey was important to Connecticut. He gave them an older guy who was a warrior on the boards, and the power forward position very much up for grabs in the UConn rotation right now. Nobody's giving them the physical play that they really need.
Inside, and the foul called is Damari Tompkins, the sophomore from Lakeland, Florida. And that's 2 fouls on Tony Robertson. It'll be a 2-shot foul, and we're already in the bonus now, Bob, with 11:54 to play.
Lots of fouling going on early, and Tools, of course, let Tompkins catch the ball too close to the basket. And Tompkins made a pretty quick move in there. Reasonable numbers, has been a starter for most of the season, but now coming off the bench. When I played in the old ABA, a lot of the brothers had that kind of hairstyle. Maybe it's making a comeback, huh?
A little retro, huh?
That's right.
He's 6'9", 245, a sophomore.
They have beef on this team, of course.
Yes, they do.
Terry Taylor, 290.
They can tilt the floor in their favor right now. The 2 guys they've got out there, he makes them both, and that is going to take us to a break. The Hokies have a 3-point lead. Ben Gordon and UConn looking up at the scoreboard right now with 11:54 to play, and his slam with authority. Saturday from ESPN Plus, and of course Troy Bell, the co-player of the week, primarily because he beat up on these 2 teams.
Exactly. 23.8 per game. The guy is a scoring machine. Rutgers did beat Syracuse at home on a 3-point shot by Hervé Lamazana. So Scarlet Knights with 1 victory in the league, but that was at home where they play better.
And that was a victory they desperately needed. And of course, Lamazana banked the 3-point shot in. Didn't call it either. Blocking foul inside.
Ricky Stokes decides to change defense after the timeout. They've been in 4 different defenses so far. That time a 1-3-1. The 2-3 has been effective. They are keeping Connecticut down. Connecticut scoring their baskets on break situations in the half-court 5-on-5. They have not done anything so far.
That was the 2nd foul on Terry Taylor. Ricky Stokes might have to think about making a change in the middle. He's
right
going to
here,
get Alan Galloway up, so Galloway will check in.
John, right here, this is movement without purpose. You know, they're passing the ball around. Now they got a screen inside.
Nice follow. Staying with it that time was Shimon Tools to pick up his 2nd basket. He missed the 1st attempt, but stayed with it and got the putback.
Well, that's what they need. You know, with Talik Brown and Robertson and Gordon, they are very, very small, but they handle well. They can pressure. The 4th guy, Tools or Hayes or anybody, Hilton Armstrong, they've got to get after it on the boards.
He can shoot some threes when he gets it rolling. That's his 2nd. Carlos Dixon leads the scoring with 8. And the 2nd 4-point lead of the first half for Virginia Tech.
Dixon had 25 against Villanova in their loss up there, and 15 against the Cavaliers of Virginia in that victory.
Malik Brown down the lane has it blocked. Into the hands of Carlos Dixon. Tried to go to Matthews and threw it away. And that will bring Alan Calloway into the lineup, and Terry Taylor with his 2 fouls heads to the bench.
Well, that's big news right there, because Callaway certainly not nearly taking up as much space in the defensive prowess as Taylor does. Taylor very, very strong physically, knocks people around, takes up a great deal of space on defense, and also can score close to the hoop.
And Gordon gets inside, kicks it off, and Okafor gets his first basket. Emeka Okafor.
Well, that's the way you attack zone right there. Little penetrate and dish on the part of Connecticut that time. Getting some clean shots the last couple of possessions. To take a look at Taylor, he could be an offensive lineman from some NFL team. Rashad Kent from Rutgers took that way.
Yes.
He played college basketball, then was with the Houston team this year in the NFL.
It is a bonus. It's the 8th team foul already charged against UConn, and it's going to put Carlos Dixon at the line. He has 8 early points, the junior.
When he came in as a freshman, I knew he had potential. He is a long player. He's a wiry, strong kind of guy. He's able to put the ball on the floor, can even play some point guard. Only 68% from the free throw line. He should be better than that.
He's looked good so far tonight, Bob. He's 3 out of 3.
The stroke's good, John, but, you know, I mean, his numbers for the season should be better. You know, if you're not in the 70s, you know, most shooters are at least in the 70s.
One of the problems that has plagued the Pittsburgh Panthers, although in their win last night, was they shot the free throws when they had to have them. He gets all 4 of his chances. He's the first player in double figures. He heads to the bench, and we're going to see Brian Chase, who joined the 1,000-point club earlier this year. Check in.
Indeed. A great three-point shooter. Led the league 2 years in a row in three-point shooting percentage. 42 and 44 the last 2 years.
Okafor matched up right now against Tompkins, who's moved into the middle of that zone defense. The outside shot no good, and the rebound is speared by Callaway. Leaner, baseline, well done. Good shot by Sean Harris, his first field goal. Biggest lead so far. It's a 6-point edge for Virginia Tech. Brown gets inside and lost it. Dixon pushes it up. Here's Chase with it. Matthews on the run.
Timeout, Connecticut.
The Hokies have exploded with 9:11 to play in the half. All of a sudden, they've jumped on top by 8. And I think you credit the strong defense that they're playing so far.
No question about that. The zone defense has been very, very solid. UConn only get 1 offensive rebound so far in the game.
It's 23-15, so George Blaney will try to corral his troops, get them going.
Well, what he's talking about right now is a little bit more effort at the defensive end to push it up. Also, Ben Gordon needs to look for his shot a little bit. He's catching the ball on the perimeter, very content to pass the ball right now. He's got to realize he's got to do some carrying of this team. He and Okafor are the star players. I know they're only sophomores, but they've got to come to the realization soon that they're the 17th ranked team in the nation. They've got a bullseye on their back. People are after them. People are motivated when they play against the Huskies. Brian Chase in there trying to do his best to push his team. He made a nice pass on the last play.
9:11 to play first half. The lead is 8. We're at Castle Coliseum on the campus of Virginia Tech, along with Bob Wenzel. I'm John Sanders. And being behind in the first half, nothing new for Connecticut. They've trailed by double digits in the first half 8 times this season, and in danger of having it happen for the 9th time.
The guys in the white jerseys very quick to the basketball. It is not a passive zone. Very aggressive extended zone.
Here's Gordon. It's down the lane. Kicks it back for 3. Nope, he traveled. Took the first step, travel before the shot by Denham Brown, and the turnover.
Too unselfish. Too unselfish. Gordon's right at the basket. Made a nice unselfish play, but he's in a position where if he went strong to the basket as he did and shot it, would have been fouled. Everything going the Hokies' way right now. They are playing, their feet are moving quick. They're playing very fast, executing their offense nicely.
I talked to Ricky Stokes. I said, do you expect a lot of emotion from Connecticut? He said, yeah, but he said, I expect a lot of emotion from our team as well. And so far, he's getting it. Stepped out of bounds. Denham Brown goes to the bench for Connecticut. Malik Brown will bring it up. Some instant offense on number 31, Rashad Anderson. He can light it up, and he's trying to, right? That's what he's good at. Off the bench and in the hole, a three-pointer. He's a 37% shooter.
And 37%, but he has taken the second most threes on the team, and he only plays 12 minutes a game. Has taken 69 threes now.
Inside the 8-minute mark. The lead is 5. Once again, a nice drive that time by Harris. Missed the shot. Out of bounds, and belongs to the Hokies. Virginia Tech will keep it. Dixon is going to check back in, and Hayes will report for Connecticut when we come back with more Big East basketball. UConn trying to use the three-point shot to get themselves back in the game. Right now trailing by 5. A big 3 there by Anderson. Standings in the East, it is Connecticut basically in a tie with Villanova, although the Wildcats struggling a little bit of late, and of course Virginia Tech needs more wins to try to qualify for New York and Madison Square Garden.
And St. John's and Boston College playing tonight. The two highest scoring players in the league, Marcus Hatton and Troy Bell. The strength is in the West, John. Pittsburgh, the best team in the league. Notre Dame, the second best team in the league. And Syracuse playing great basketball, having beaten Pittsburgh and Georgetown in their last 2 games.
And that coming off a loss at Rutgers, so go figure, huh?
Home, the Carrier Dome.
It certainly worked to their advantage last Saturday night.
It sure did. Hayes in now.
Good offensive movement that time, and a nice speed inside to Tompkins. He just kept going to the basket.
He really did. Pick and roll situation executed perfectly. The pass, the screen, and the movement.
Here's Gordon. Thought about the 3. Malik Brown with penetration gets along the baseline, lays it off the glass and in.
Well, that is his game. He hurt his wrist. You can see his right wrist has a bandage on it before the St. John's game, but warrior type attitude for Malik Brown. He is not a good perimeter shooter, but physical point guard.
Dixon has been quite active. He's short with that 3-pointer, and an offensive rebound by Callaway. Chase, he loves the 3-pointer, buries it. Has been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. It's his first. Anderson tries to answer, misses that 3-point attempt, and Dixon has the rebound. 28-20. A chance at the line for Fabian Davis after the foul. Jamon Tools will pick up his second foul, and once again for Virginia Tech a chance to take that double-digit lead.
There is that wrist that we referred to. Malik Brown hurt that at the end of the Miami game and played very tough against St. John's in one of the more physical games I've seen this year, although there have been a lot of them. You know, the numbers in the Big East for guys go down as the schedule continues along. And that's because coaches know, teams know what the other teams are going to do. They're scouted more. They see all of their games. Trends develop.
And the teams are better. Let's face it. It's much tougher in conference than in non-conference. The lead is 9. Brown gets it to Gordon. Gets it back, and I think we've got some action inside. It's going to go against the Hokies. It will go against number 34. That is Damari Tompkins. Pick up his first foul. They can't get very physical inside, and that's why Hayes is on the court right now, to help add a little physical presence for the Huskies inside. Less than 6.5 remaining in the opening half. A new clock for UConn.
Impressed with the defense of the Hokies, John. They're extending. Look how far out Chase is on a shooter. They're extending the zone, which enables guys to penetrate. Bad pass by Hayes. Good anticipation by Dixon.
Easy steal for Dixon. He'll get it back now from Tompkins.
Contrast in styles defensively, John. You know, UConn sticking man-to-man, trying to get aggressive that way, and they do.
A good job that time by Hayes. Mike Hayes with the steal. And a foul at the other end. Collective foul. As Anderson drew a crowd. Take your pick.
John, can I ask you a question? If 2 guys foul a guy, does he get 4 free throws instead of 2?
I don't know. He might have earned it on that one.
Certainly did. Good defense leads to fast break situations. And Hayes, he turned the ball over last time. Made his piece immediately. And Anderson gets hit pretty hard on that one.
The foul goes on Damari Tompkins, so he picks up 2. Joining Terry Taylor, so 2 of the beefiest guys on the Tech team have 2 fouls already.
And Taylor will be returning. Rashad Anderson being required by the officials to fix his gear. Only 68% from the free throw line. Not great for a guy who is a very accurate three-point shooter.
And that's why those numbers are low. Averaged 24 points a game in high school. And his high game was off the bench against Villanova a couple of weeks ago. He had 18. There's Taylor back.
With 2 fouls in the first half, I think Coach Stokes is just rotating his beef instead of leaving both on the bench at the same time. He doesn't think that would be advisable. So trying to keep some beefy players in. He likes those guys. They led the league in rebounding last year, even though they weren't in the running as one of the better teams in the league, certainly the worst team in the league last year.
8 players from the Big East are in the final 30 and qualifying for the Wooden Award, including Okafor. Turn around, Taylor, good.
Got some rest while he was on the bench.
And he got the little bump, gave him a little room, and he nailed the jumper. And there's that 10-point lead that we've been talking about. 9th time that the Huskies have trailed by 10 or more in the first half. And it wears on you and it catches up with you.
It really does catch up with you, and it's been a disturbing trend for them. There's what you're talking about. Well, and you wonder about why that happens, and I don't think anybody has their real finger on it. You can't really explain it. However, they are 13-4, so they do come back from games.
Matthews tried to back his way in against Anderson, and Anderson is going to pick up his second foul.
You know, the problem with falling behind that far at home is not as much of a deal as when you're on the road. You know, Connecticut right now, you know, struggling on the road in games, only 2 and 3.
Well, they've lost at Oklahoma, at North Carolina, at Miami, and then, of course, the devastating loss to Boston College. Ryan Matthews is also not a very good free throw shooter, although his shooting ability is stellar.
A lot of fouls on the part of Connecticut early. Virginia Tech has not had enough fouls for Connecticut to be in the one-on-one. And talk about another emotional thing on this team. The loss at Miami when they had the game won. Darius Rice stole an inbounds pass and hit a 3 as the shot expired. The clock almost expired. That's a hard loss.
It was a shocker. Anderson gets to the baseline, tried to go back to Justin Brown, who's on the court right now. Here comes Chase racing down. Missed the shot. Follow no good. Wow. A pile up as Taylor winds up on top. And we'll unstack and see if we've got a foul. We do, and that's a costly foul on Terry Taylor because that's number 3. And it also will put them in the bonus. So we'll walk to the other end and start shooting.
Well, this is the first time that they're getting an opportunity for a one-on-one situation. Unfortunately, Terry Taylor with 3. Connecticut has 9 turnovers in this game in the first half. That is not characteristic of their play.
Talik Brown will shoot the free throws as Hayes checks back in. And Justin Brown, 50-year player. There's the near follow, and then look out below.
Some elevation on one player's part and some diving on the floor by the other. You got to credit Ricky Stokes right now with his ability to get his team to play hard, especially defensively.
I think that the Hokies were in the lane.
No question about that. He went in way too soon. He's complaining both guys went in, but his guy went in first.
So we'll do it again. Scratch what just happened for Talik Brown.
Yeah, start over. Do-over. Pretty good numbers, especially in the assist department. He's 3rd in the league in that particular category, but
not a good free throw shooter. Out of bounds, and it's going to be touched last by Hayes. So the Hokies will get it back. They have their biggest margin here in the final 5 minutes of the half, up by a dozen.
John, Virginia Tech's defense is they have good personnel for zone. Look out there and look at those 4 guys other than Chase right now. All long, lean, probably have 6'11", 7 foot wingspans.
Matthews puts it up, forced it up at the foul line. Block and a foul, I believe, on Okafor.
No block out on the part of Rashad Anderson on that play, and that gets Okafor a foul. That is a frustrating thing for the centers on teams when they get caught with other people's men coming in.
McCandies will go to the line where he's 10 of 14, the freshman from North Carolina, out of Winston-Salem.
Well, that was an easy trip in there for McCandies. Nobody blocked him out, just roamed right in.
The one thing that's not happening for Connecticut is very much at all against the zone out of their half-court offense. Then they've not been able defensively to get it going where they can run.
Exactly. And I think what's happened is, George has tried several different things. Rashad Anderson is in there. He's been in because of his outside shooting ability. They've tried to penetrate and make plays, and Talik Brown is good at that, but Gordon's kind of been absent.
Gordon got inside that time, had it stripped away. And Marcus White is now on the court, but at the other end, it's Matthews. 8 points for Matthews, and the lead grows. A 15-point lead in the first half. And against the zone, not very many touches for Emeka Okafor. They'll turn it over again. And they are on their feet at Castle Coliseum with a timeout coming. 3:59 to play in the half. And the Hokies are excited. They're on fire right now, leading by 15. It's 36-21.
Fast hands leads to fast breaks. And the Hokies taking advantage.
Half up 36-21 with just less than 4 minutes remaining, and part of the reason, look at the difference in the turnovers, Bob.
Big time. And those 10 turnovers have led to a lot of easy baskets for the Virginia Tech Hokies, and they've taken care of the ball very well themselves. Connecticut only averages 14.5 turnovers per game, so having 10 at this point in the game is not very good for them. But you got to credit Ricky Stokes and his team. They are prepared in the zone. They are using their length. They're using quick hands and quick feet to create those turnovers. They're guarding the basket well. George Blaney's team's struggling right now.
Shooting 41%. The problem against Boston College last weekend was they shot 27% in the first half, and they were buried by the second half. It's an offensive foul now on Carlos Dixon. Picks up his first. A turnover. We'll get it back.
No shots for George Blaney's group. Carlos Dixon, look at his long arms. I mean, these guys all are that way. Long arms in zone defense. I can't tell you how important. See how they keep their arms out like that? That cuts down passing lanes. If all 5 guys do that at the same time, there's not many places you can throw the ball in the interior.
Well, Ricky Stokes said to shoot around. I said, well, you going to play some zone? He said, yeah, we'll play some. That's about all they played.
That's all they have played.
Brown gets inside. Okafor has it blocked, and you don't see that very often. Guy is second in the country in blocks himself. He gets his rejected. Dixon tried to go inside, turns it over. Brown runs with Gordon, and Gordon traveled. He forgot to put the ball on the floor.
How often do you see that?
Not very often. He just took off like a halfback. Another turnover. Let's see if the Huskies can use their pressure defense to get something going offensively.
2-2-1 has not been that effective. The turnovers that they have had have just come from individual plays by Huskies players. Talik Brown tried to lead the charge. Your point guard, if you're playing man, is the most important guy to start the defense. Big run by Virginia Tech. Connecticut really, really cold.
Well, this is a team that averages 82 points a game, and they have 21 with 3 minutes to go in the first half.
They're kind of allowing Virginia Tech to run their stuff.
Okafor snatches that one out of the air. It was partially blocked as Chase went up for the three-pointer. Gordon comes back now. Tries to go to work on Dixon. Can't do it. And they're just getting nothing done inside against the zone. Or outside, for that matter.
They really haven't.
Turnover there.
Denham Brown tried to put the ball on the floor. He put it on his foot. He's saying it was off the foot of Matthews. The official didn't see it that way. Robertson is a guy who could give them a spark. Certainly a guy who was all tournament last year in the regional and the NCAA.
Well, I think that's what George has been looking for. He's even gone as deep as Marcus White. Maybe he was hoping Rashad Anderson would do it. Matthews has that one blocked. Talik Brown keeps his head up as he gets inside and buries that little runner.
And that is his game. Close to the basket shots by Talik Brown is what UConn needs more of.
32nd timeout, and gives us a chance to remind you that we'll have the ESPN Plus halftime report coming up. We'll check out our Big East Wire and looking at the co-players of the week and also the rookie of the week. They'll all be familiar faces. We'll have top 25 scores and, of course, all the highlights and stats from the opening 20 minutes of basketball in the first half. Thus far, Bob, you've got to give the Hokies some credit. They've dominated this half.
They really have, and you know, your thoughts go to the Jim Calhoun situation. Unfortunately, you know, Ricky Stokes isn't worried about that. He's worried about his own team. But Connecticut looks a little bit lethargic to me out there, and I don't think it's something in the front of their consciousness. George trying to get them riled up right now. I think it's just something that's under the surface. You know, they've had a lot to deal with lately. And to Virginia Tech's credit, they came out very strong early and did not let UConn do anything that they wanted to do. I think the zone defense, forcing 12 turnovers in the first half, has been key.
Shooting-wise, it's about even. The Hokies at 43 and the Huskies at 40%. So not much difference there. It's not been a matter of the shooting. It's a matter of getting the turnovers off of their good defense.
That's right. And they're getting more shots because of those turnovers.
Dixon up and under move. And that was greeted by a couple of guys. And on the rebound, the foul was called against McCandy.
Don't you wish you could elevate like this?
In my dreams, yes.
Both guys got it. Wow.
You don't want to go there, and then the foul brings it back to the other end, and a chance at the line for Marcus White. He'll have 2 shots. He hasn't played that many minutes so far, the freshman, but he is 4 for 4 at the line, and this shows you that George Blaney is trying to come up with somebody to spark his team.
Well, exactly. In a situation like this, when you're down like this, you're grasping for straws. Let's don't forget, the #1 team in the nation went to Kentucky and got beat so badly it was hard to watch last night. So these kind of games happen. And young players, you know, Connecticut, everybody seems to be a young team, but in Connecticut, they're ranked so high, sometimes you don't think of them as young.
Well, so in the next poll, then what are you going to do? Have like 8 teams ranked from 2 on down and no #1?
I think that's a good idea. There is no #1 team.
There isn't so far. You're right. Nobody has really taken charge. And he's still perfect. 6 for 6 at the line, although he had to coax that first one in. Malik Brown will pick up the foul, and that'll be his second. Armstrong and Tools also have 2, and Armstrong got those 2 early, and he has been missing in action since he got in early foul trouble. We have not seen much of him.
No, he's a skillful type player, and in this game the other team has some beefy guys, which he's not accustomed to playing against those type players.
And this is going to go even deeper into that bench. Chad Wise comes in now. So George has used 12 players in the first half.
Wow. Chad Wise, not a guy that has played a lot of minutes. Talik Brown with 2 fouls. George wants to make sure that he does not get another one before the half.
So he'll set the final minute and 53 seconds as McCandies makes it 3 out of 4 at the line. The freshman has 5 points in the game. And the lead is at 13. It's been as many as 15 here in the first half. There's Chad Wise. Draws a crowd. Why not shoot it? They leave him alone. Missed the 3.
That's a tough thing to do. You haven't played the entire game on your first touch to try to take a shot there. He was around the iron, but that's really not what you want to try to do. Get a touch or 2, move the ball a little bit, and then get your feet under you. That's exactly what George is telling him right now. In an encouraging sort of way.
Keep Marcus White at the free throw line. All he's done is make 7 straight. Has not missed as a collegian.
That's good stuff.
That is good stuff. It isn't often you'll see White and Wise on the court at the same time for UConn, right?
In practice.
But White gets it back out of bounds. And it'll be Hokies basketball with 1 minute and 35 seconds left in the half.
John, Dean Smith told me one thing one time. He said, when a guy gets the ball close to the basket like that right there, that's coaching. What he does after he gets it that close is recruiting.
It's very good. Go inside. Matthews pumps it up and gets the roll. Ryan Matthews in double figures, joining Carlos Dixon with 10.
Skillful player in a variety of ways. Nice touch right here. Notice the delivery. Wise gets caught on the baseline side and a nice underhand scoop. He knew where the defense was, went between Wise and the help. Very, very nice shot.
The chance to stretch that lead back out to 15 again, which he does. The second time they've been up by 15. 11 for Matthews. His running mate Dixon has 10. They've provided the scoring so far for the Hokies.
And they are juniors. Came in together. Both guys similarly built. One plays the wing, one more inside.
Robertson to Gordon, and Gordon not really even looking for a shot right now.
He really is. Gordon looks a little bit foggy to me in this game, trying to play point at this juncture and get everybody else involved. He needs to shoot it more.
Yes, he traveled. Kind of skipped toward the foul line that time and turns it over. So another turnover. And again, the turnover that comes, Bob, in the half-court offense.
Precisely. Not executing well against the zone.
Final minute, opening half. A 19-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. As the Hokies have it in front court, McCandy's. There's Matthews off the screen, comes up short. Rebound Robertson. He'll start back for the Huskies of Connecticut. Ranked number 17. Gordon bounces it inside, working his way to the basket that time is Okafor, and that's just his second field goal here in the first half.
And he has not had a lot of touches. They've attempted to get him the ball inside. They have not been able to.
Well, you recall when they played early at Vanderbilt, he had 19 points with we are in Blacksburg, and the three-point basket by Branham stretches the lead out at the buzzer. So a shocking first half. They will head to the locker room with their biggest lead of the half, up by 16 points. The Hokies doing everything right in front of a hometown crowd of about 5,000 at Castle Coliseum. They used their defense to set up their offense, and they sprint out to a 16-point lead. The Huskies, number 17, in trouble at half.
Right here, Talik Brown, if he's going to be your guy on the offensive boards for the game, you're in trouble. He had 6. The guy who was lacking was Ben Gordon. This is one of his 2 baskets, only 5 points in the first half. Carlos Dixon shot well from the perimeter and took to the ball to the hole. He had 10 points in the first half, but they were well distributed. Tompkins scores inside here on a very nicely executed offense. Chase came in off the bench and does what he does, which is made 3-point shots. So domination on the part of the Hokies, and the reason for it, look down where it says turnovers. 13 turnovers for UConn, and they have made a lot of points out of those turnovers. And look at the free throws. Virginia Tech, 18 free throws, 14 made, doing a good job. They are dominating the game.
Field goal shooting is just about even, but it's going to have to get a lot better for the Huskies in the second half. 44-28 Tech.
How much is the Hyundai Elantra?
Half a dozen by the Huskies, 10 by the Hokies, and out of that group, let's check out the leading scorers, and there are 2 players for Virginia Tech in double figures so far tonight, but missing in action are the high-scoring numbers from Connecticut. You've got Okafor and Gordon, and between them averaging about 36 points a game, and they have 9 so far tonight.
Yes, and they have not stepped up at all. Matthews and Dixon, the leading scorers for their team, doing what they normally do. Connecticut, of course, turning the ball over way too much. Connecticut normally about 14 turnovers a game, a lot of errant passes. You got to credit Virginia Tech. You know, they stayed after it, but really Connecticut, 13 turnovers in the first half. Some nice defensive plays, but they did not turn those things into points.
Well, the one thing they've also not been able to get into is any kind of up-tempo play. They've not been able to turn from defense to offense in a quick manner.
Precisely, and that is what they are normally very good at. Talik Brown back in to run the show. He had 2 fouls in the first half.
And Anderson starts the second half.
Well, he is their chief outside shooter aside from Gordon.
He shoots the 3 and buries it. He gets his second 3-pointer. That's 7 points for Rashad Anderson, who's starting the second half in place of Hilton Armstrong.
The proper start. Good decision by George to keep shooters in the game. Now he's got Anderson and Gordon in the game at the same time.
Was Gordon holding inside? I have to think he probably was. That'll be Ben's second foul. This is a team that starts 2 sophomores that lead the scoring, and they also start 2 freshmen.
Yep. And the best team in the league starts no freshmen. Pittsburgh.
That's true. 3-pointer
about that, huh?
Is too strong, and a foul called on Gordon again. So 2 quick fouls. He fouls the jump shooter, so that'll be 3 coming up at the line, and Gordon all of a sudden with 3 fouls. Well, that leaves Clyde Vaughn shaking his head along the bench, along with George Blaney and also Tom Moore. But you can't do anything about it. Robertson's going to have to come in.
Well, that's not such a bad thing. Robertson, a very, very experienced player. Ben Gordon with his third. Robertson started every game last year and has been used chiefly as a guy off the bench this year. Very experienced player, can play the point or the two.
He did make one start at Miami as Coach Jim Calhoun tried to shake things up a little bit. Ben Gordon responded in that game with a career game of 32 points and still wound up a heartbreaking loss as Gordon heads to the bench. Matthews trying to answer at the line the three-pointer that Rashad Anderson nailed to start this second half. And he does. It's all three. And he has made 6 straight. 14 points for Bryant Matthews, and back to the 16-point lead. It's 47-31. On the perimeter, Robertson now goes baseline, jumper, and he'll go to the line.
Well, that's what you want from Robertson. He's a guy who can put the basketball on the floor and pull up. He's a very athletic yet short player, only about 6'3". But watch him as he puts the ball on the floor here against the zone. He knows the help is coming, so he pulls up, gets the opportunity to go to the free throw line. And Virginia Tech, John, doing a very, very good job of whenever there's dribble penetration, their big men come to the ball quickly. So as a result, you've either got to pass off or take those little jump shots in the lane from 8 feet. Talik Brown normally pretty good at that. I think he needs to look for a shot a little bit more in those situations.
2 at the line, the first 2 points for Robertson. And you saw Damari Tompkins that time come down with the arm, and that's when you get the foul called. If you leave the arm up, you might get away with it.
Precisely. Now, last time these two teams played in Connecticut, Virginia Tech was up at halftime, not by 16, only by a few points. Connecticut came back to win that game by nearly 20. So what happened was full court pressure defense, and Connecticut got with it.
That's Branham with it. Matthews now, as the shot clock winds down to 5. Dixon in the lane, buries the jumper. He's got a dozen.
Athletic, good place to stop.
Call a dramatic win for him here last year against Boston College. It was Dixon at the buzzer to win that game. Anderson's 3 is on the way. Too strong. Put back by Robertson, rolls in.
And rolls in is the right description. It didn't go in really that cleanly. It's been one of those days for Connecticut. Virginia Tech in its first year in the league won 2 games at home, and then last year in its second year in the league won 3 games at home. They've won 1 so far this year, playing very, very well in this one.
Branham handles. Matthews pulls up his jumper, rimming out. Fight for the rebound inside, and I think the foul is going to go against Virginia Tech, and it will go and be number 3 on McCandy. So both Tompkins and McCandy's with 3 fouls.
I'll tell you what, Ricky Stokes has used a lot of guys in the post, and in the first half, McCandy got the start, had 5 points and 6 rebounds for the Hokies. Did a very, very good job.
Good feed to Okafor, and he's fouled as he went to the basket, and that is a problem for Tompkins. He's going to be chased to the bench because he's got 4 now.
When you enter the ball from the point to the post like they just did, this is an excellent way. Now watch how Okafor pins his man before the ball comes to him. Center of a 2-3 zone, and not see a man coming from behind him. Nice play by Talik Brown and Emeka Okafor.
Okafor a nice stroke there, but overall not a very good free throw shooter. That's only his 5th point of the night. Taylor checks back in, but remember, Terry returns with 3 fouls.
Well, the Beef brothers doing a pretty good job defensively in the first half, keeping Okafor from getting to the line or getting many touches, but at the expense of fouling.
Well, each has fouled out twice this year, and each is facing some foul trouble here in the second half. The lead is down to 12. 49-37. 2.5 minutes gone in the second half as Carlos Dixon off the Taylor screen takes it all the way to the far side. Inside Taylor. Puts up a baseline jumper and draws a foul. Now Taylor that time aggressively looking for his shot, draws foul number 2 on Emeka Okafor.
Well, Okafor, as you mentioned, is the 2nd leading shot blocker in the country. Taylor uses his bulk to get position. The pass was really a good pass because it was pressured by Robertson. And what Taylor does, he doesn't get off the floor very much at all, but he uses his body to nudge. As a result, keeps the leapers from getting off the floor as well. 292 pounds. Pretty good. 14 points a game, 7 rebounds.
At least 292. He has 4 points. He goes back to 14 as Talik Brown starts back, gets inside, down the lane, scoops it up, bending off. Scramble for the rebound, and out of there with it is Branham. On the wing, Matthews spins, missed the shot. Lost out of bounds. And the Hokie faithful can't believe the call, but Connecticut will get the basketball.
One 3-1 zone, an effective zone for this type of personnel. The long arms stay in the passing lane.
Well, they tried to skip it to Robertson and almost turned it over again. And Robertson was trying to get him to go to Talik Brown. He didn't want that long pass.
Anderson's mistake on that. You don't throw a lob pass like that against a team that's playing this way.
Here comes Robertson. Baseline jumper. Bending, no good. Rebound brought out of there by Matthews. He's got Branham on the far side. Taylor trails the play. Here's Dixon, and that's a hand check foul called on Robertson. He's got 3.
Lack of individual defense on the part of Huskies in this game. Dixon has really been able to take whoever is guarding him one quick step, and he's past his man.
Well, he's got that long, lanky body, and he can get up over you. Having a pretty good night so far with 14 points. Dixon with a dozen. This is Matthews to Dixon. And now Branham, who's running this ball club. Ryan Chase not starting right now for Coach Ricky Stokes.
Chase is really not a point guard, and I think that's what the situation is.
We've got a foul called inside on Anderson. And Rashad will pick up his 3rd foul. Remember, in the first half, the Hokies got themselves in trouble with some early team fouls, and they've already got 5 in the second half.
You got to play defense with your feet first, especially when you're in man-to-man. When you're in zone, you got to move your feet, but also the length of your arms becomes very, very important factor in the game. So far, Connecticut playing mostly man-to-man, not moving the feet as well as they should.
Taylor looks to Branham. Hokies will reset. They've got a fresh clock. Just about 4 minutes gone in the second half. Here comes Dixon off a screen. Dump down Taylor. Couldn't handle it. Leading the way is Anderson. And he'll get an extra shot and 1 because he's fouled from behind. The basket does count. Dixon picks up his 2nd foul, but kind of an unnecessary foul there, Bob.
Right here, good hustle on the part of Okafor to tap the ball away. And of course, you're right, Dixon does not need to touch anybody on this kind of thing. That's a foul, giving up a point, getting a foul on one of your better players. Ill-advised play by Carlos Dixon. He has not had many ill-advised plays tonight, playing very, very well.
Rashad Anderson trying to become the first Husky in double figures, and he is. He has 10.
Dixon and Matthews, John, came in here as freshmen. They were long, lanky. They put on weight. They've gained experience through 2 years. They're really developing into nice Big East players. Branham at the point guard does a better job as a point guard than Chase. Chase really a small guy, but a 2 guard in his mentality.
Somehow got the shot up, missed it, and winds up in the hands of Shaman Tools. And here is Robertson. He lost control, but Anderson pumps the 3 too strong. Okafor got a piece, but it kicks into the hands of Branham. And back come the Hokies on the run. Taylor inside, using that strong body. .53-40, 5 minutes gone in the second half.
It's getting loud.
3, bends short. Nice rebound that time by Dixon. Carlos Stutz back, pulls up for 3 and buries it. He's got 15 points. And back to the 16-point lead. Taylor providing some spark with his bulk underneath off the bench, but staying red hot is Carlos Dixon. Nails his 3rd 3-pointer. And with this shot, the Hokies go back to a 16-point advantage. Is still up by 16 points. Before the game, we had a chance to talk to George Blaney about his relationship as he takes over with Jim Calhoun, his longtime friend.
We go back so long that I think the interesting part about our relationship all the time is that we really don't need to talk to understand what each of us feels, and then the passion for the game is what's always kept us together. So he's just a unique individual, and I've really at this time of my life, he's given me an opportunity that I'll never forget him for.
That's the kind of relationship they have.
Beautiful stuff. Right now, a little conversation going on the sideline. Tom Moore getting into the act. 3-point shooting so far for George Blaney's team. 2 for 10 in this game. There's his career record.
Carlos Dixon alone is 3 for 5 for the Hokies.
But this is a continuing pattern. In the last game against Boston College, UConn 1 for 15 from 3-point range. So they're going to see a lot of zone in the next few games.
Ricky Stokes' team in control, and they've done it with a solid zone defense. They played virtually the entire night. They buried the zone look at times, but it has certainly worked for them this evening.
That's right. And they've used they're using a 1-3-1 now. They've used a 2-3, but all of it has been extended with pressure on the basketball, the use of long arms to cut down passing lanes.
That's Gordon with it. Shot clock is inside 10. Talik Brown gets inside and is fouled.
But you can feel the Huskies struggling on that possession. The end of the possession turns out pretty well. Talik Brown gets to the basket, and he's fouled, although he's not a very good free throw shooter, but really struggling to get any kind of rhythm looks from the outside at all. Right here, Brown takes it to the basket. We know he's about 200 pounds, and for a point guard, very solidly built. But comes up with nothing at the free throw line on his first attempt.
He is 0 for 2 at the foul line tonight. So Ricky Stokes' team is still in control very much, leading 56-40. And he does hit 1 out of 2. So Talik Brown gets his first point in the second half. Cuts the lead to 15. It's 56-41. So the Hokies still very much in control over the Huskies. Connecticut as they meet for the second time this season. The last time was on the 14th of January, and Virginia Tech jumped out to a lead at halftime. They were paced by the very strong first half performance of Terry Taylor. He had 14 points in the first half. Matthews got in the act as well. He finished with 16. Second half, though, a 17-1 run. Gordon a big part of that. He had 24 points. Okafor had 19 points, 12 rebounds. Connecticut won it, but that is not happening tonight.
No, it really isn't happening. And Ben Gordon, the guy who you would rely on to score a lot of points, had 24 in the game you mentioned, averages 21 points a game, and tonight really not getting anything done at the offensive end. And Okafor also not involved.
Well, the two of them combined have scored 11 points in this game.
You know, the frustration on the part of Connecticut right now is they're struggling at the offensive end. So the thing that you want to do is go full court pressure and pressure teams and try to create turnovers. And every time they do that, they're getting called for fouls. So Ricky Stokes' team really in a good position right now. Connecticut a little between a rock and a hard place in terms of trying to get some points on the board.
Talik Brown had it, and he's fouled. Now, Alan Calloway had the ball but lost it. Talik Brown is hurt. And whether he jammed a finger or hurt his hand when he came down.
Well, he has that wrist that he hurt before the St. John's game. It has been bothering him. They're going to take a look at this real quick. He looks like he's in pain. He's bent over that way. Sometimes when you get in a situation like that, it pops out and you can pop it right back in. That's what it looks like to me.
Well, they're working on him.
In a situation like this also, well, we're not shooting free throws right here. Let's see if we can see what happens. It's when he came down on it. It wasn't 21 knocking him down right there.
No, he rolled over on his hand, it looked like, on that replay, and he is in some pain on the bench as he'll be attended to by Jason Miller, who's the new trainer for the Huskies. Joe Sharp was there for many years and moved on to the NBA.
Gordon with 5 points, Okafor with 6 points. Your two main guys being held down very, very well. And now, where do you look for points from Rashad Anderson, players like that?
Anderson gets the runner inside. Marcus White diving for the rebound. They scramble, and coming out of there are the Hokies. The three, good. Oh, Eric Branham. His second three-pointer. Remember, he got one right at the buzzer in the first half. And the lead is stretched out to 18, biggest of the night. Anderson, Okafor. Here's Gordon. And he's bumped by Carlos Dixon, who's having a pretty good night. 7 of 7 at the line, 18 points in the game.
Branham gets this off after he's wide open, and the reason he's wide open, that came after a scramble. Everybody was diving on the floor. They found the right guy. He came up strong.
So we're shooting free throws both ways, as that's team foul number 7 on the Hokies in the second half. So it'll be a 1-and-1 for Gordon. And Ben looking for his first point in the second half. A terrific free throw shooter. And Taylor snatches the rebound. That's the kind of night it's been. Branham comes back the other way, hits the edge of the backboard, and Taylor is there to rescue him. 8 points for Terry. The lead is 20. Anderson tied up. Possession arrow gives it back to Virginia Tech. So it's all coming unraveled right now for UConn.
And on the other hand, you know, UConn has been in the opposite position of this many, many times in the 90s, where they have jumped over people. And right here, everything goes wrong. A shot that goes off the side of the backboard, and they end up getting 2 out of it. And then, of course, at the other end, fast hands by Branham creates the turnover situation. Terry Taylor taking up a lot of space inside. For a guy who doesn't jump, he knows what to do. He uses his body to shield the ball very, very well. And there is the hand of Talik Brown.
And they are making him pay at the free throw line tonight. Branham has 9 points. He has a pair of three-pointers. And Ricky Stokes' team adds to its lead. 62-41. That was the 4th foul on Robertson, by the way, as Branham hits a pair. He's in double figures with 10. So 3 Hokies in double figures, 1 Husky.
When things are going well, as they are for Virginia Tech, it's a great feeling as a player. Almost everything you do goes right. It adds to your energy. That is that's Anderson. He's the only offensive weapon so far in this game for the Huskies. But confidence, and it starts growing and growing and growing, and then everything goes right for you. You feel like you're just in a zone.
He's got all 3 of their 3-point field goals tonight. Dixon. Is he feeling it or what? That's 21 points for Carlos Dixon, his 4th three-pointer. Anderson tries to answer. Can't. White got the offensive rebound and then was put to the floor.
Dixon's last 3 was on an old weave play, a dribble handoff by Matthews. Got him the look. Dixon really feeling it tonight. Looks in rhythm.
Foul was on Matthews. He put White to the line. He made 3 of 4 in the first half.
Also, John, when things are going this well for a team, players seem not to get tired. They're so excited about staying in there, getting their opportunity to do good things, and that's how Virginia Tech is feeling right now. And on the other hand, if you're Connecticut and it's a struggle to score, it's a struggle to make a pass, everything seems to be going wrong. Hard to break out of it, hard to get an offensive rhythm.
White, all 5 of his points tonight have come at the free throw line, and the lead is back to 20 again with 12:15 to play.
Well, this is what you want to do if you're Connecticut. Really nothing else you can do but get aggressive on defense, but you've got to avoid the fouls.
Here comes Branham racing down, and Okafor blocks it. Gordon brings it back. He's fouled. The foul will be called on Eric Branham, picks up his 2nd. This is a good news situation for the Huskies because you get some points with the clock stopped.
Well, they need to get points however they can,
Exactly
and you're right about that. The press resulted in them getting through. But when you have a guy like Okafor back there who can block shots, that's what you want to continue to do, especially when you're behind by this many points. You've got to gamble and make some chances.
Jordan rattles that one in, so you can tell he's not comfortable at all tonight. Not even from the foul line, where generally he's super.
86% from the foul line. There are going to be a lot of Huskies that are going to get in. You said they used 12 in the first half. They're going to have to increase pressure, and that's what they're trying to do right now. They're better off doing it man-to-man and trapping out of man-to-man, which is what they're doing right now, because if they go that 2-2-1, it's easy to get it through.
The Hokies handled it that time. Set up with 12 minutes remaining in the game. 66-48 lead. This is Taylor. To back outside. Matthews too strong. The rebound, and it was Gordon who stayed with it and tried to weave his way to the basket. He'll get 2 shots at the line.
Well, you can tell by the sound of the crowd that things are starting changing in Connecticut's favor. The pressure has helped. Gordon, as you said, weaved his way, got Dixon to turn his back, and then a little tap foul.
And it is his 4th foul.
Well, that is trouble.
Yes, it is, because he has been a big key to this game with 21 points. And Gordon is starting to feel better at the free throw line.
Well, Chase will come back in to replace Dixon. Much difference in size. Dixon at 6'6", 6'7". Chase, a little guy. So defensively, that could hurt them a little bit. But Chase is also a very accurate perimeter shooter.
McCandies checks back into the lineup as Alan Callaway goes to the bench. Gordon trying to make it 4 straight at the line for him, and does. So he's got 9, and that'll take us to a timeout with 11:45 to go. The Huskies are trying to get back in the game. They've got the difference down to what it was at halftime, 16. But a beautiful offensive set here, and finished with a terrific 3 by Dixon. Not been able to slice into that lead. It's still 16 points, and the 3-point plays favoring the Hokies.
Oh, there's no question about that. Carlos Dixon, he has had 4 of 6 from 3-point range, and he's done it in several different ways, in transition and in sets. The Hokies really scintillating from the outside. 7 for 13, 21 points for them. Only 9 points. Connecticut shooting 25%.
And that is our Shooting the Rock, brought to you by Rolling Rock. Grab a rock. The Rock has not been too kind in the
the Rock's been good for that guy right there.
Sure
Carlos
has.
Dixon.
He's now got foul problems, sitting on the bench with 21 points. 66-50.
The question is, can they make a run? Down 16, 11:45 to go. That's a lot of time, and they're going to make this a rat game. Full court pressure, trap when you can. They've got to take Virginia Tech. Take your opportunities when you're there.
The foul will be on Okafor as he went up to get the block against Taylor. Emeka Okafor picks up foul number 3.
For a guy who can't jump, Terry Taylor is getting Okafor in foul trouble. And here's the reason why. Okafor has to defend the goal right here. Watch how Taylor gets his body up into Okafor. And even though he can't jump, creates the contact and gets his chance at the free throw line.
He's got a chance to be the 4th player now for the Hokies in double figures. He's sitting at 9. But you're right, he just protects the basketball, and you've got to go through him to get to it.
That's right, and anytime you try to do that, it's going to be a foul, and he's really been confident at the free throw line tonight.
Well, a huge difference between these two teams at the free throw line this evening. Many more opportunities for the Hokies to go back up by 18. They've been led by as many as 22.
Watch these passes. Now that's a nice one inside, but the perimeter passes have been nothing.
And Matthews just took it away that time, and Harris comes up short.
That's what UConn wants. Shoot quickly so they can get it back and maybe get something in transition.
Gordon looks inside, nothing there. Denham Brown starts a baseline move. Good pass underneath, but Anderson is fouled as he went up for the short bank shot.
Well, Connecticut aggression by the Huskies defensively, have they started to make them a little bit more aggressive at the offensive end. Taking the ball to the basket right here, finding people, powering it. Last time they had a similar play that was blocked, but this time he is fouled. So Anderson will get a chance at the free throw line.
Just his second foul, and Anderson is now 3 of 4 at the free throw line, and he's the leading scorer in this ball game for the Huskies with 14. Matter of fact, he's still the only player on the team in double figures.
Lots of guys going to be going in and out of the game because strenuous defense a part of the Huskies right here to get back in the game. They're going to press at every opportunity. Now they must get back when Virginia Tech gets through them so they don't get Okafor in too much foul trouble.
I think that was the travel. It sure was. He took a step, then he tried to regroup, and by that time he was done. 68-52, 10:52 remaining in the game.
It's easier to attack a zone press. In man-to-man, it's a little different story. And right here, putting the ball on the floor, switching pivot feet.
Taylor with the overplay knocks it out of bounds. Still 29 on the shot clock.
Okafor better when he's moving in the post rather than just standing there trying to post up. When they get into body contact situations, Taylor has the advantage over Emeka.
Shimon Tools in there. This is Denham Brown. Gordon, they look low, and he throws it away right into the hands that time of McCandy's. Another costly turnover by the Huskies. Dixon gets away from Anderson. They find Taylor. Inside, that time Okafor gets the block. Another attempt. A foul, and the basket will count. Barry Taylor is pumped up.
You gotta love it. Extra effort on the boards.
I remember Ricky Stokes said, I expect our team to play with emotion here tonight. They desperately need this win at home.
The first one is blocked. He continues his effort. He doesn't get it the second time. Continues his effort. Third effort. And gets a three-point play out of it. A lot to admire in that play.
11 points for him in the second half. Remember, he came on when Tompkins went out with 4 fouls, and he's played very well. 71-52. Gordon trying to work on Chase.
When Gordon gets it and he's in your area, they are playing him square man-to-man.
Gordon's long three rattles out. Okafor the putback, and he'll get one more.
Well, Okafor positioned himself and used his size and his jumping ability on that particular play. Gordon, that's the first one. Gordon hasn't really forced up many shots, and you would think that they need that a little bit. He's even challenged pretty well, but Chase is short and can't challenge as well. Out of his area rebound by Okafor on that one.
And Okafor now with 8 points and a chance to complete the three-point play at the line, but they just can't make a dent in the lead.
They can't get any momentum. Missed free throws like that causing easy misses around the goal like that causes it also.
Shimon Tools had a chance with the offensive rebound. Chase keeps his dribble alive. Now Matthews. Chase against Gordon. Off the screen. Matthews. Lost his footing, but kept his dribble. Taylor gets it. He's squeezed, but powers his way inside and draws the foul.
Baby Shaq.
That's number 4 on Okafor.
They can't let him touch the ball this close to the basket. Uses his body, finds the angles.
Well, he's 5 for 5 at the line, all in the second half.
Well, he knows he cannot shoot over Emeka Okafor. So using his body, he gets his body on Okafor to prevent Okafor from using his jumping ability, and then just spins around him. Really done a very, very good job of using those 292 pounds.
Remember, he had the huge first half on January 14th in a losing cause, even though his team was ahead at the halftime. And Taylor now looking for his 15th point tonight, and that miss is his first at the line. That 16-point game that he had against UConn, his season high, by the way.
Played well against the Huskies. A combative nature.
And they had to take Okafor out of the lineup. Three-pointer is short. Taylor has the rebound. The guy that has really been missing the entire night, though, and started the game is Hilton Armstrong.
Got into some foul trouble. I don't think he's ready for this kind of physical nature of the game. McCandis really playing well.
Good move inside and the little jump hook by McCandis. He's got 7 points.
I like him. This is the first time I've seen him in person. He's going to be a good player.
Gordon tried to dump it down. He'll get it back. Here comes Anderson from the weak side after the skip pass. That's 17 for Rashad Anderson, who's just 1 point away from a career high tonight. 74-56, and the clock really becoming an enemy. A careless turnover there by Matthews, who didn't catch the ball. And Robertson is going to check back in. Tony, with 4 fouls, will return as Anderson goes to the bench.
Well, what's happening right now, UConn is expending a lot of energy on defense by pressing and recovering out of the press. And it's discouraging for them because they're not making any dent in the lead.
It's still 18. Gordon, three-pointer. Kicked out of bounds. Touched last by Matthews, says Donnie Gray. Well, the Huskies will get another chance. You start forcing those three-pointers, you've got a problem.
Yes, and especially at this part of the game, I would prefer to see them force some threes early, but now you're working so hard on defense, it's hard to get your legs in your shot from deep now.
And that foul is on Gordon. He's got 4. So 4 for him, 4 for Okafor, 4 for Tony Robertson. You've got Tompkins and Carlos Dixon with 4 fouls. Keep in mind, they're hanging on to this lead with Dixon on the bench.
Balanced scoring. The inside play of McCandis and Taylor in the last 4 or 5 minutes has been excellent.
Taylor has been terrific in the second half with 12 points. Didn't start the second half because he was in some foul trouble, but then when Tompkins got in foul trouble, he came on and he's played very well. The Hokies take a 30-second timeout with 7:51 to play. 74-56, and I've just not seen any kind of an offensive spurt that's going to be enough to get Connecticut back in this game.
No, not so far. And I think what the only way for them to get back is what they're trying to do right now. Press full court, but they've got to gamble, I think, a little bit less and then just try to play their man solidly when they get into the front court. They're gambling so much right now that that's gotten Okafor in some foul trouble because Virginia Tech has gotten through the press, and you got to give them credit. They are attacking the basket when they get through the press. They are not holding back, and as a result, they're feeling so confident now. All kind of guys are making plays. McCandis, who's a novice kind of player, really took it to the basket the last time. Branham is making three-point shots. Everybody's doing their part, and Taylor has been the anchor in the second half.
Well, Matthews has not scored in the second half. He has 11 points on the evening. Dixon with 21, Taylor with 14, Branham with 10. Well, it has been balanced for Virginia Tech.
And that's what happens when you win games. You have offensive balance.
And Taylor will get another chance at the line. And Taylor knows that he's going to have his way when he goes inside against Justin Brown. What a second half he's having. He's matched his season high with 16 points.
You think Frank Beamer would like to have him out for the Virginia Tech squad next year after he graduates?
Well, Frank's got a pretty good team without him.
Yeah, right.
What a night he's had. What a second half he's had. Season high 17 points for Taylor, 15 of them in the second half. The Hokies have all the emotion going their way on a 21-point lead with 7:46 to play. Taylor and the Hokies in control at home. The man on a mission.
How would you describe this, fans, Big East fans? Watch this guy operate inside here. Can't jump over a phone book and is absolutely destroying UConn. Think he's enthused?
I think he is. He's got him going here at Castle Coliseum.
Likable guy. Talked to him before the game, too.
Guy.
He was pumped up. 17 points and 7 boards and only 1 miss at the free throw line.
And 15 of those points in the second half.
And also clogging up the middle in the zone defense, making it difficult for UConn to score in the paint.
And really stepping up when Carlos Dixon had to go to the bench with 4 fouls. Robertson has a rebound by Toole, gets it back to Gordon. Three-pointer, good. And Anderson has been there. He's had a career night. That is his 4th three-pointer. He has 20 points. But he is the only Husky really doing much at all. Deflected out of bounds. Virginia Tech will keep it. And
UConn want him to develop, and they know he's a shooter. And the more minutes he gets, he's going to put some balls in the basket. But they also are concerned about his defense, and rebounding, and knowledge of the game, which are all coming.
Able to handle this time is Harris.
Chase really doing a good job as the point guard out here. Handling the ball nicely, getting them into their sets. Very few turnovers against heavy-duty pressure on the part of the Hokies.
Taylor in the crowd, dribbles away. Shot clock at 5. Maybe they don't care so much right now. Chase beats the shot clock. And the follow, he did catch part of the rim. It tipped up a couple of times, and finally in that time by McCandies. Just did catch the backboard and the rim at the buzzer.
They are complaining, George Blaney complaining about basket interference. But I'll tell you what, the Huskies nailed to the floor on that play, being out-hustled.
I'm not sure where Okafor was going with that pass, but it winds up in the hands of the Hokies. 79-59. Just over 6 minutes to go. Taylor along the baseline, an air ball that time, and the rebound goes to Shimon Tools. Here's Gordon, pulls up for 3, on the way, too strong, and there's Taylor.
Fatigue setting in. Taylor and McCandies both walking up the floor right now.
Well, that's when you want to walk on offense.
Yes.
You want to walk on defense.
That's right.
It's been a long stretch. I think Taylor looking to the bench to see if he can't get just a little bit of a blow here. Matthews. Chase for 3. Yes, sir. That's the way it's going tonight.
I love the weave action on the part of Virginia Tech. Damari Tompkins going to the scorer's table to check in for Taylor, who's very fatigued right now. But the Beef brothers, one at a time.
Oh, they've done the job. Biggest lead of the night. Foul from behind. The foul is number 4 on McCandies, and it's going to send Robertson to the line.
Wise use of changing zones by that coach. Stokes really did a good job preparing his team for this game. Emotionally ready when the 17th ranked team came to town.
It's interesting, too, at their shoot-around today, because of classes, a lot of the players are not able to participate because they're in school. It's very important to Ricky Stokes. Terry Taylor, for example, was not at the shoot-around.
Lots of guys with big numbers and fouls right here. Taylor gets a standing ovation as he leaves. The star players for UConn all nearly fouling out. Taylor did a great job in this game. And has done a great job for them all season, averaging 14 points and almost 8 rebounds a game.
82-61. A pile-up at midcourt. And the foul will go on Anderson.
Anderson tried to come from behind and poke the ball from behind, but in the process.
Well, he's the 4th Husky with 4 fouls. And it's the double bonus both ways for the last 5 minutes. Matthews very quiet in the second half. Did all of his damage in the first half.
Well, he got his team off to a very good start. He was the most confident of all of the Hokies out on the floor in the first half. McCandies really did a good job, too, getting a nice round of applause from an appreciative group.
And the one thing that Ricky Stokes has been able to do, too, is spread out the fouls with the number of players that he uses.
Yes, he does use a lot of guys. And, of course, sometimes that takes away from your offensive rhythm, but not so in this game.
Gordon with a nice hanging bank shot. 11 points for Ben. He's in double figures. We're at Castle Coliseum, where the Hokies are laying it on the Huskies right now. I'm John Sanders along with Bob Wenzel. Glad you could join us. First game for UConn in the absence of their head coach Jim Calhoun. He'll undergo surgery tomorrow and probably be out about a month. Chase for 3. That one's short. Good rebound that time by Marcus White, who's gotten a lot of minutes here tonight. Anderson wanted that catch a little quicker so he could get a 3. Instead, he rattles it 2 outs. Okafor had it, tapped away from him out of bounds, and I believe the Huskies will keep it.
Fast hands and fast feet today by Ricky Stokes' team. And their defense in all of their zones has been just spectacular, not letting Connecticut get anything easy, challenging everything on the perimeter, and creating lots of turnovers with their length.
Gordon inside, no place to go. Anderson, Robertson, baseline runner, and he'll go to the line.
John, I can't help but think about what a great feeling this is for Virginia Tech to play so well against a very, very good University of Connecticut team ranked 17th in the country. And then my thoughts go to Connecticut and think about how many times that they have been on the opposite end of this kind of game, where they have blown people out.
But once again, their first half problems catching up with them because they fell behind by double figures in the first half. Trailed by 16 at halftime as Taylor is back in. And that's the 9th time this season in 18 games. So half the games you're behind double digits in the first half.
That's a lot to dig out of, and I think that can become cumulative on your psyche as well.
Robertson 7 points, 5 of them at the free throw line tonight, cutting the lead to 20. Here's Matthews.
You look at Virginia Tech also and you think, how can these guys be 1-5 in the league?
From behind, stolen back by Matthews as he got there before Anderson could get rid of it. So a new clock.
This is the kind of watershed game that a Virginia Tech team can have, John. You know, to play against a highly ranked team and beat them like they're beating them in this game can do wonders for a team's confidence.
Especially coming off back-to-back disappointing losses to Boston College and at Providence College, where they were just hammered. Okafor with a putback, no good. Tipped up, no good. Scramble for the rebound. White has it.
I believe Matthews is going to be called for that scramble.
That is his 3rd. And he got the worst of it. He wound up on his backside and gets called for a foul.
That's what he's laughing about right here.
It's a lot of punishment to take for a foul, isn't it?
He got hit so hard his shoes came untied.
I tell you, nobody's minding it right now. The two, Taylor, Tompkins, both on the court right now. That tandem has been strong tonight. Marcus White. All of his points have come here at the charity stripe.
Malik Brown with ice on his left hand, injured it.
And did not come back.
Did not come back. And of course, their primary ball handler and point guard happened in the second half, diving for a loose ball.
A pair at the line. So Marcus White 7 of 8 at the free throw line, cuts the lead to 84-66, and will send us off to a break with 3:19 to play. Talik is not in the game, and the Hokies are in control. Of Virginia Tech, and there's George Blaney in his first game, and I think tomorrow morning this game won't be quite so important to George or to the Huskies because their thoughts will be with Jim Calhoun.
And frankly, I think their thoughts have been with Jim Calhoun all along, because this is very uncharacteristic of them. Although in their last game, they played badly against Boston College. Boston College played great, but an inspired effort on the part of Virginia Tech cannot take anything away from their preparation and their desire in this game and their execution.
Here comes Anderson. He'll go to the line again.
Well, the last minutes of this game are going to be a scramble-type game. Ricky Stokes looking at the clock. He wants that thing to tick as fast as possible and get out of here with a W.
If you're on the Connecticut bench, it's going way too fast. And if you're with the Hokies, it's going way too slow.
Interesting perspective. Connecticut has 18 turnovers. Virginia Tech 13, so it's mounting up in the endgame situation. But 13 turnovers by Connecticut in the first half led to a lot of Virginia Tech points. It's evened out as the game has gone on, but the free throw shooting, Virginia Tech has really increased there and also on their inside game in the second half. Lots of dejected players on the sideline for the UConn Huskies.
And they continue to struggle away from Storrs or Hartford. It has been a career night for Anderson, who has a career-high 22 points. And only Ben Gordon in double figures with him as that one goes through the hands of Matthews. Second time that's happened to him tonight. Right through his hands, out of bounds.
A long pass by Tompkins from out of bounds. Tompkins and Taylor both in there right now. 1-2-90, 1-2-70. Taken up the lane.
And the foul was on Taylor, so he's got 4. Gordon inside, hanging, bending off. Offensive rebound. Gordon again, the dump down to Okafor, and that is blocked by Matthews. A little of his own medicine for Emeka Okafor.
Learning what it's like to have your shot blocked. He kind of had that ball behind him. It was an easy block.
Chase with it, and back on the court is Dixon, who's had a terrific night at 21 points. Deflected out of bounds. The Hokies keep it 18 on the shot clock. 2:37 to play in the game.
Dixon went out with 4 fouls and then came back in and has energized things. He's well rested. Really a long player, got nice offensive skills.
And with 21 points, despite sitting out a good portion of this second half, that's deflected away. And the foul is on Anderson, who does not agree with Donnie Gray. In fact, they have to pull him away because he's fouled out of the ballgame. Well, the Huskies will have to bring on a replacement player. He fouls out. Here's our BMW ultimate drive of the game, and it's the big man inside, Taylor.
Well, he's driving and driving and driving. Does BMW make a truck? I don't know. The ultimate drive of the game, Terry Taylor, his stick-to-itiveness, very, very admirable. Anderson a little upset about the call.
He fouls out, the first player to foul out. It leaves with 2:27 and departs with a career night. The freshman, 22 points. Tompkins' first point in the second half. Remember, he went out early with 4 fouls, and Taylor just came right in and picked up like nothing was missing at all.
They shared the position well.
And they're both still on the court. We'd have to credit Ricky Stokes with making the most of the fouls that were available to him. Gordon for 3. Too strong. There's a putback that time by Okafor, and he's now in double figures with 10.
The core of the Virginia Tech team is Dixon, Matthews, and Taylor. And they are reliable players that play good games all the time. The question for Virginia Tech is how many of the other players will step up and do the jobs that they are needed to do. You referred to Damari Tompkins, him doing it. George Planey, first game after the news of Jim Calhoun's prostate situation, has not gone well. That man, their best game of the season other than the Virginia game, that was an in-state rivalry that turned out to be a big, big win for Ricky Stokes.
I tell you, when you're in the 4th year of a 5-year contract, you're looking for every win you can get.
That's right.
Doesn't matter who you're playing.
But let me remind you, when teams come into this conference, they don't normally have success for a few years. Miami in their 3rd year was 0-18 in the league. And 1-17 in their first year, and went on to had some pretty good years.
I'll tell you what, they became one of the best road teams in this conference. Okafor not able to finish. Scramble for the loose ball. White has it. Taylor with a block.
Virginia Tech just quicker to the ball. Legs fresh. Adrenaline flowing.
Minute 30 to go. Content to work the clock. Here's Taylor. He's had quite a night. Dumps it inside to Tompkins, gets it back, puts up a jumper. Why not? That's 19 for him.
Ricky Stokes is so happy right now about this turn of events. His assistants are probably thinking, man, can we save some of these plays for our next game?
And a quick timeout called by the Huskies after the basket by Emeka Okafor. Give him a dozen points, but he and Ben Gordon combining tonight for just 23 points. Keep in mind they, as a tandem, averaged 36 coming into this game. So some of the faithful will head home thinking that with 58.5 seconds to go, and put this one in the win column.
Well, George Blaney still coaching, 30 years of experience coming to play here. Now he's going to have this team for the next month while Coach Calhoun recovers from his surgery tomorrow morning. And they're going to have to play a lot better than they played today. Terry Taylor doing a great job in the first half and the second half, but especially in the second half. Everything going in for the big guy. Great enthusiasm. He's played a wonderful game. Deserves a lot of credit for this win.
Well, it won't get any easier either for the Huskies, because their next game is coming up at Providence on Saturday. Then they go back to Hartford to host Syracuse, and they turn around and go to Villanova.
And Virginia Tech at St. John's and at Miami in their next two. Nice poise.
And the foul given there. Oh, timeout was called. 30-second timeout taken by Stokes. Let's look closer at the upcoming schedule for Connecticut. As Marcus Sales has checked in, the hand is for Terry Taylor, and he's applauding himself.
And I think what's happening right now, Stokes is putting in all the subs. The guys never get to play. And of course, this schedule, you reiterated already, Syracuse really playing well. Villanova has lost 3 straight. And when there's an at in front of those things, that makes every game tough.
And
at St. John's, at Miami, at Boston College, at Notre Dame, 4 out of the next 5.
That's right. You've got ats in front of 4 or 5. That will not be an easy road. This is a very satisfying moment, but you can never assume anything. As Luke Minor at 7'3", and the biggest player they've ever had at Virginia Tech, checks into the lineup.
Also for Connecticut, you're sitting on the bench right now. You're being beaten badly, and then part of you says basketball is not so important.
That's right.
Your father figure having his surgery tomorrow morning.
Now that's what they came to see. Luke Minor with a basket, 92-72, and the foul is called on Sean Harris.
Ricky Stokes trying not to smile too much, but the starters on the bench cheering for those who they practice against every day.
And I tell you what, it doesn't happen this way very often when you get Fabian Davis, Marcus Sales, Luke Minor, Deontay Smith out there. They've not been in this situation where they've been 20 points in front late in the ball game very often.
No, never. Not a great night for Ben Gordon or any of the Huskies. Well below his average in every area.
He does have a dozen points in the game now, but as you mentioned, it's a case of too little, too late. That's a travel. Got to put the ball on the floor.
Well, at 7'3", you're a long way from the floor.
Tough to get it down there. Is that...
Gravity will get it down there a little bit.
I tell you what, George Blaney has not stopped coaching. Even though his team is going to lose, they're down by 18 points.
An emotional, draining week for the Huskies.
But I think coming in, as we talked to George this afternoon and tonight before the game, I think he thought they'd play better than they have.
He's saying, keep playing, keep playing.
Sales. He gets the 3-pointer. And a huge win for the Hokies. 95-74, and they storm the court. Not many chances to do this. I'm sure they did when they beat Virginia here, but now you knock off the number 17 team, and you're entitled to do a little celebrating.
I'll tell you, storming the court. Fantastic day for Virginia Tech and Ricky Stokes. He's watching this to take it in, because he deserves a lot of credit. The Hokies were well prepared. Student body having a grand time.
Dixon with 21. Taylor had 19. Matthews had 13. 10 for Branham. Everybody shared the action. George Blaney is a loser in his first job, picking up for Jim Calhoun. And all our thoughts will be with Jim Calhoun tomorrow, Jim. We will be thinking about you once you're back healthy and on the bench as soon as you can.
Amen.
Again, the final, 95-74. This has been a presentation of ESPN+, the worldwide leader in collegiate